Hey, Stewart's Chapel, Don Pierson here, and Don Counts. And this is Friday, December the 31st. And we're looking at In the Presence of Predators, Little Predators Take Life Too. Today we'll be looking at a little temper. A little temper. We're back in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26. Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your wrath. Be angry and sin not. Do not let the sun go down on your wrath. And then James chapter 1, verse 19. So then, my brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger or wrath. For the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God. Notice the wrath of man. There was a really good discussion a few weeks ago with in our Sunday school class about is anger ever a righteous thing? And I think there is. In fact, that's why he says, be angry, but do not sin. So there is an anger that is righteous. And I think that's when you and I become angry about what causes God to be angry. For example, if anytime I hear about a child that has been abused or molested, something happens in me. I think that bothers God. Anytime I see a parent rob or steal from their kid, it does something to me. Anytime injustice seems to prevail over justice, it seems to do something to me. Anytime that I find myself sinning, it causes a lack of joy, even some anger at myself. Now, the problem with me saying this, you need to hear this. The problem with me saying that there is a righteous anger, the problem is there is so much sin in me, righteous anger doesn't last very long in me. It does not take long for my righteous anger to devolve or to regress to an unrighteous anger. I think that's why the Bible says, be angry, but not very long. Do not sin and don't let the sun. In other words, don't keep it in you. Then that's the difference with us. When I may be upset or angry when injustice, when sin affects an individual's life, but at the same time, I cannot harbor that. I must move on. I must learn to experience forgiveness and move on, because if I hold it very long, it's going to become fleshly. I cannot keep it. That's why over in James, it talks about the wrath of God. When you move from anger to a sense of wrath, it is there is a wrath of man that is not righteous. Now the problem is, most of us, we live in a world that almost praises a man, especially with a man, not so much with a woman. We almost praise a man who has a little bit of boldness. When I say boldness, we talk about temper. When there's a little bit of loudness or yelling. Now, there's nothing wrong when people know me. I'm loud. And I can be bold. But there is a difference between being loud and being angry. Can you tell when you're angry? Sometimes my face will turn so flush red. Or sometimes my face won't turn red, but I can feel it coming up in me. There are individuals that I know that tolerate this in their life all the time. They're known for it. Prevents them from being the kind of men of God that God desires. They have very little self-control. They have very little ability to allow God to control their reins. James 1:19 is foreign to them. They need to hear it. They know it, but it's foreign in their reality. They tolerate way too much temper in themselves. You see, when you crack this door, all fury will eventually flood out and flood in. This door is a dangerous door. This has deep roots. In our society today, we blame everyone but ourselves. And so even when we have a temper problem, we might blame it. Well, you don't know what I've been through. You don't know my parents. You don't know what happened to me. You don't know what I'm living in. You don't know what A little temper aims to create fear and aims to manipulate. Everyone that I've ever known that has this, they will kill a conversation. They will take over and manipulate people by their bursts of anger. They push people away, and people will do things that they would never do just in order to appease this individual. So in order to have a semblance of peace. The problem is you never have peace when you tolerate this. You just have a semblance of peace. You never have peace. Often, this little temper is often demonstrated from a root that is deeper. For example, jealousy, envy, covenantness. When an individual is raised with very little respect of others, then they have no problem giving someone a good tongue lashing or exploding on them. Most of the time when I see this, I see an individual who is very disrespectful, who it makes it all about themselves. Now, it is true. There are individuals that have such a habit with this that all trying to find the roots, well, it's just so hidden, it's so camouflaged. Because they've been doing, this is who they are for so long, that they've become known as an angry person. And people will even warn other people. They never know it. But other people say, well, you better be careful. Be careful. Watch out. That person's got a temper. This destroys relationships. The people that are in the closest to this person are usually preyed upon often. This may look little, but this is very destructive. It can destroy a marriage. It can destroy a child. It can destroy a church. Anyone associated with this fox is devoured. You know what you do with this? You catch these little foxes. You catch them and you destroy them. You do not allow this or this individual to continue to manipulate and create fear, because the relationship is already contaminated, destroyed. Love you, Stuart Chapel.